Welcome back to your channel. My name is Brad and this is Supercoach Pro. Today we have a special guest, Steve from SDS Supercoach. How you going, mate?
G'day, Brad. I'm going very nicely, mate. Super keen for the season to start. I'm very interested to see what your team looks like.
Yeah, well, just before we start, I'd just let you know that Hawks are going to finish bottom and Richmond are going to finish first with the cup in the hand. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I've got a spot on as well. I couldn't care less if we're getting the next Dusty in the draft. Oh, shattered.
ask Melbourne about that. They know how to screw up picks, don't they?
We go all right. Good old
Yeah.
Luke Hodge went all right.
All right, so this is the final team review. I know I did say last week on my channel that was final, but too much changes in a week with all these rookies and whatnot, and injuries to players like bloody Yo has scrambled 38 or 40% of sides. So D1, I think I've been saying D1 all year for this bloke. And it's only because I didn't say him last year. I saw how well he did. And people were saying about injury, but he actually got suspended for Prestia for knocking him for 4 weeks. So I don't think he misses many games as people read into. And there's a chance that he's a good VC every week. I only like Doc and him for VCs in defence, so that's why I've started in D1. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I've gone with him at D1 as well. I just think he can deliver some scores that can really shoot you up in the ranks. So I'm perfectly fine with that pick, Brad.
Done. D2 has to be Doherty. I've only been hot in the last couple of weeks. I saw him rack up the pill. I think without Zach Williams there, I know people are saying he's averaged less without him, but I think he just takes kick-ins a little bit more and also plays midfield. So worst case scenario, you're going to get a guy around 6 or 12 that's DPP if he does play a lot of time in the centre if another midfielder goes down. So he's D2 for mine, Steve. What are you thinking about that move?
Yeah, no, it's a very good move. I'm very nervous to not have him on my side. I've gone Dawson ahead of him, but I just think he's gonna score very well tomorrow night against the Tigers, and hopefully for your result, hopefully for your case, it's a 1-0 for the Tigers for that game. So, but yeah, I'm
Well,
very nervous to not have Doherty.
we'll be spending a lot of time in their back line against us this week, so it's got to be there. We're going to kick a lot of behinds with Tom Lynch and Revolt there. So um, D3, I actually have to scroll a bit. I've gone the preseason hype, Ridley. I know there's a few boys on different channels that are starting him as well. That's not the reason why behind my pick. I think a couple of years ago he had that really hot start, then got concussed. And out of those 500k players, I think he's the one that really showed the ceiling and the consistency. His only reason why he scored pretty bad was he's played a lot of lockdown. The coach isn't there anymore that was making him play lockdown roles. But I think out of all the ones, I'm more confident than a Jake Oyd type or Dacos that could get second year tag because teams went to him, even in a pracky match. So I think Ridley is going to be most people's D3 now that Yo's thrown out the picture. What do you think of Ridley this year, mate?
Yeah, I've got Jordan Ridley at D3 as well. Essendon are going to play more of a chipping style as well down back. I think Ridley's going to go really well against Hawthorn this week. I think, and especially early because I think their key stocks, I assume, are Brandon Zerk-Thatcher and Jaden Laverty. And what does that mean? Probably normally means that Jordan Ridley is going to be playing more of I guess, a floating role, and that does sound like a good idea. So I think he's going to go really well. And there is a good chance that he can be a top 8 defender coming into the season. It'd be a bit of a disaster if he's not. Could be another Lockie Whitfield situation, but hopefully he is top 8, top 10, that sort of thing at his price.
Yeah, I think he'll be thereabouts. So I'll start him. Hopefully he's not a Luke Ryan of last year for me. D4, Liam Jones. This guy's probably going to give me a roller coaster, go 100 one week, then 40 the next, but probably average himself out to be about a 70. He'll take kickouts as well. So I think he's pretty popular at this stage, being D4, and his job security is pretty good. So, yeah, what do you think about that one, mate?
Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I definitely wasn't on him during preseason, but I feel like all these players around his price really just ruled themselves out, like a Caulfield, like a Goda, and it's just left us with Liam Jones. So I reckon it's a fine pick. I've got him at D4 as well. He should be a very solid scorer. He doesn't have to score much to get to 150k. So He scored 70 and he's averaged around 68 to 71 over the past 5 years before he left. So I think he's a very fine selection, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And D5, Gimby scored about 99 the other weekends. You can play a little bit everywhere, midfield, halfback. It's pretty common for Supercoach rookies to play those sort of roles. So I think he'll actually be one of the best cash cows we have this year. And I think he's just worth chucking there for job security as well. So I've actually got a few West Coast players that are lining up, as you'll see as we go through. So what are your thoughts of that for D5? Do you trust it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of the easiest picks of the season, along with a couple of others. But he's going to be perfectly fine, Ruben Ginby, Jimby. I still need to figure out how to pronounce it. But I'm going to be interested to see how his role's like without Yo now in the first round. But it's not a long-term injury, this calf injury. So we're interested to see how he goes round one, especially against North. So he's perfectly fine, mate.
Yeah, well, probably more Supercoach points for the pie anyway. So,
Yep.
and it probably means you can imagine starting Yo and he does his calf round too. So it's probably best case scenario for coaches out there that we're going to start him anyway.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Oh yeah. So the other one is Constable. So I'm getting voice notes on Instagram, so it's a little bit distracting. Constable's at D6. The eye rolls, I'm not even going to go into it. But yeah, that's my D6 rookie. The other rookies I won't go into. What do you think of Constable at the moment?
Yeah, perfectly fine, especially for the first month, probably for the first month of the year, without just all these Gold Coast halfbacks. I'm hoping he can stay in the side. If he can perform really well, which is what we're all going to hope for, then he should stay in the side. But if he goes pretty poorly, then I think his job security is in a bit of trouble. But I think Constable's perfectly fine at D6 for the first few weeks.
All right. Well, yeah, I agree with this one, obviously. But the next two rookies, I probably won't touch on too much, but I purely picked them on job security over the Lions guys that we're speaking off air about. It's just purely, I just feel like these guys will probably be starting on the field. I mean, we've already seen Cowan named on field, and Chester's probably got a bit of job security better than the Lions' depth. So I'm actually gone cold on McKenna and Wilmont, just purely based on Brisbane's depth. And they're almost going to be the antipod. So if they do get subbed off and whatnot, it won't be to my detriment. But if they go nuts, then I'm going to be a little bit annoyed and I can go sideways if I have to. But it just sucks because they're actually priced up. If you go McKenna, I've got to find 40K somewhere to go. But I think I'm just going to leave them and just pick rookies from crap size, to be honest, because they got better job security. There might be slower burn, but that's going to be my theory for my bench. So if you see a weak bench, it's not because I necessarily want it. It's just I think they're just going to play more games throughout the year, meaning more coverage during the buys.
Yeah, Chester and Cowan are perfectly fine there, mate.
Yeah. Now this one hurts me. It's Ashcroft. No, it's not really at M1. That would be kind of weird, wouldn't it, to have him at M1?
I mean, he might play like one day.
I think he'll average 100 this year anyway, Ashcroft. I know it's a big call, but I think he's going nuts.
Yeah, he's an absolute gun in his age.
Yeah. Rory Laird, it's between him and Clary. I think Goodwin spoke about saying Track and Clary playing different positions because they're going to run Piggott through there and a couple others that have lost my mind. They're not players you'd Supercoach relevant. But Laird, you know what you're going to get from him. He's the mainstay in the midfield. Keys is playing forward. So, yeah, they're going to probably look to tag a Laird or a Dawson, but I think Dawson's more acceptable for a tag than Rory Laird because Rory Laird, if he's getting tagged, he's going to have 10 tackles anyway. So he's M1. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I've got him at M1 as well. There's going to be a little bit of concerns over him getting tagged this week, so I'm not going to vice captain or captain him this week, but I do prefer him over Oliver. I don't think there's a wrong pick. I think it's perfectly fine if you want to go Oliver. I think it's perfectly fine if you want to go Laird. Just personal preference. And I'll tell you what, that game against West Coast, he looked absolutely unreal. He's a bloke that doesn't stop trying. He goes from minute 1 to 28th minute of the last quarter. So he's just an absolute beauty. And yeah, that's a very good pick.
Absolutely. I think he's, finally getting the recognition that he deserves, to be honest. I had him at the back end of last year and it shot me up in the ranks. So he was a pod then. The next two probably won't surprise you because it's a lot of people's M2 and M3. So it's the Bont. I think, he played injury cloud last year. He gets a good preseason under his belt, and I think he can go nuts with the loss of midfield players they've had out of that side, like Dunkley and the guy that plays on the bloody wing. But I think Bont goes pretty high, and I think he actually finishes M2 for the year. That's how highly I rate him this year. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I love the Bont. I think he's going to win the Brownlow this year. Lester Vote's taken off Josh Dunkley. He's my early tip. So Bont, I think, is going to go nuts. He's not going to spend time forward due to the dinosaur dog setup that they're going to go with Hagen, Lobb, Norton, and Sam Darcy this year. So they're going 4 talls. So I think it's going to cause a bit of trouble for Melbourne round 1. But yeah, Bont is a very, very good pick and such a high ceiling as well. He's probably my captain for the weekend.
Yeah, fair. Yep, I don't hate it at all. My M3, he's built a little bit like me, just a little bit taller. I'm just talking shit now, but Tom Green is my M3. What do you think of Tommy Green this season, mate? You reckon he's going to go off? 34% competition, reckon so?
He'll be the Andy Brayshaw of 2023. He'll be a top 12 potential midfielder, and he's going to have a ripper year for the Giants. And I think the Giants are going to have a great year themselves. A lot of people may disagree. I've got him in the top 8. It's a big call, but I don't go too vanilla with my predictions. And I think Tom Green's going to be fantastic.
Yep, I agree. I reckon he's going to be great. Pity he's signed because I thought we were going to grab every Giants player over the next 2 seasons. Bit annoying, but M4, Jacob Hopper, I think he won't be your sort of 100 guy. I think he'll float around 90, 95. He's had a limited preseason, so he worries me a little bit. He has been dealing with a knee issue. So yeah, I'm a little bit also nervous. This is a bit of a curveball. I'm worried he sort of gets subbed off in the fourth quarter of some terms later in the season. So he's one of the rookies I actually want to get rid of quickly because just how limited his preseason's been. And if we're up by 10 goals, I can't see Hopper playing a full game. I don't think we're going to run Nank and Soldo together. So I think Hopper and players like that have had a limited preseason are actually going to get chopped, and we'll bring in Judson Clark or someone like that, or Jack Ross, actually, who always wears a sub vest. I don't have him in your side, not as relevant, but Hopper at M4.
Yeah, Hopper's a good pick. Even as you mentioned, he could be he could be a candidate to be subbed off. I think it's perfectly fine if he can still average between 90 and 95. We're not asking for miracles, but he's just an absolute gun. He made the All-Australian squad 1 year. Absolute beauty.
That's true. I actually forgot about that, to be honest. He'll probably make it again this year when we're holding up that trophy. Just kidding. I actually, to be honest, I know I'm talking shit about Richmond a lot tonight as in a positive way, but I actually think Brisbane win it this year. Finn Callahan or Melbourne, yeah, Melbourne definitely. I think they'll be too slow at times though with 2 ruckmen like that. But Finn Callahan is M5 actually for me.
Okay. Yeah, so, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got him as well, so obviously I like it at M5. So, what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, that's what I forgot. I almost forgot what I was doing there. Yeah, well, he's got to play wing a little bit inside mid. Kingsley said, but he just uses the ball so well. So you got Cogs and Canelio and Green and all those players feeding him out to him. I think he gets a lot of goal assists and end of that. So I reckon he still averages pretty high out of all these rookies, especially for that price. I don't think he's really much of a sub risk. So I think he's one that can actually be a really good rookie even until the buys. I think he's actually got really good points in him. And I'm not worried about his CBAs because I just think he'll actually get a lot of outside ball. You look at McCluggage, he's actually not a bad midfielder for averaging what he averages. So I'm not scared off of, oh no, they play a wing. I'd rather a wing rookie than a bloody forward pocket, mate. So that's M5.
He's such a talented player as well. I think if Will Ashcroft didn't exist this year, then he would certainly be a good candidate for the Rising Star. And speak of the devil.
Yeah, yep, he is definitely M6 for me. So probably not much to really talk about. Everyone's heard about him. So M6, mate, what do you think for him?
Yeah, I won't say much. Absolutely, the biggest lock in the game, other than Dunkley, maybe.
It should be by 100%. So the other 22%, your NPCs, if you know what that means, look it up.
Yeah, they're bots for sure, bro.
160,000 play this game. There's got to be at least 150 that almost are bots. I'm just kidding. Mackenzie, your mate, you probably have a better idea of him than me. I'm not a Hawks man, so maybe you lead the way with this one. I'm just picking him because he scored about 100 in the preseason and looks pretty good job security. What do you think, Steve?
I think a lot of people are concerned that he could be Josh Ward 2.0, but you probably watched the Hawthorn Tigers game last year in the preseason, and I personally thought Mackenzie looked better than Josh Ward did. He's a better kick, Cam Mackenzie. I'll take it from here, of course. Cam Mackenzie. I think he's a fine option. He's going to get a good opportunity at the Hawks. He's going to get a good chunk of CBAs on occasions. I think that's very good. It's good kick. Just such a tall mid that we kind of need, like Connor Nash. He's a brave soldier, but we need a bloke like Mackenzie instead of him. Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's why because she was meowing at my door and it was very hard to concentrate. So,
yeah, pick Mackenzie.
yeah, Mackenzie. All right. Sorry about that distraction, Steve. So,
That's all right.
I'm going a bit light in the midfield, as you can see. So, Phillips is M8, mate. There's not much to talk about. Like, we know he had glandula. I can't even say that word. Fever. I did VCAL, Steve, so it's a bit hard for me to talk. But I think his job security is pretty good. He's got good CBAs. He's just in a really shit side, so he's probably not going to get the score we want him every week. But I think he'll be a bit of a slower burn than what we're actually expecting. But it's only because he plays for North. But I think he'll be a lot of people's M8 or M9 for the season, mate. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's perfectly fine. I've got him at M9. I've got him on my bench, but I think Phillips is fine to start because he actually is getting centre bounce attendances, so I think it's fine.
Yeah, sweet. Well, the next three I probably won't speak a lot about. So I'll put them up the screen as we go. Baker played himself into the Bulldogs side. Apparently he wasn't in their contention, but we scored 114 Supercoach points or thereabouts, had 22 touches, had 3 shots to go, only scored the 1 out of the 3. So here's one I'm lightly touching on. Hollins is the other one I'm starting, and these might be subject to change. This one I'm not going into too much depth. He's already named on the wing with Carlton's injuries. I think he still plays. I might even put the emergency. So if he does score well, I can always, if he scores like 100 and something crazy, I might grab a dodgy midfield defender at 102k and use his emergency score. That's the plan behind him because our wings are Pickett and McIntosh and they give up a lot of points to midfielders in general, Richmond. So I can see him having a decent game, and that's why I picked him. I know he's only at 18%, but I actually think he should be higher for a second-year player, and they've always rated him. It's probably too much on one player, that price. I don't really care about the 40 grand. People will get scared off about these elevated rookies, but they'll actually make a lot more than your first-year players. I'd rather spend 40k extra with the job security and the scoring potential that they have rather than a guy that's going to be sub-risk every week, mate. What do you think so far?
Yeah, Baker's a fine pick. If he doesn't get picked, then I guess we'll have to reassess. But then Hollins, I haven't seen many people with Hollins in the side, so that's fair enough. I think. I think his job security is going to be all right because I think I have a Carlton mate who's not big on Lockie O'Brien at all. So I think his job security should be fine. And he's very good runner. He won't get subbed off.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Does this go only for 30 minutes, by the way? Sorry.
40 minutes. So I don't know how long we're going for. So I'll speak a bit quicker.
Oh, me too, mate. I don't want to cut it out because then we'd have to do a retake. So Wits
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, it's too much effort. Wits and Marshall,
Yep.
I think is most people's combination, or it's a Darcy and Marshall. And then Madden would be my loop, unless Radaglia is named in the back line. What do you think of that trio?
Yep, Wits is fine. I prefer him over Darcy personally. And then Marshall, he might have to suck up and play with Tom Campbell for the first few rounds. But if you don't have Marshall on your side and Tom Campbell's dropped, then there might have to be some reset shuffling for non-owners. So then Madden's my loop as well.
Yeah. I think that's the 3 combination that most people will start. Even Wits is only in like 14%. So I find it weird this year that the Rucks aren't really highly owned, apart from Marshall. Everyone else is pretty even. So I'm not really worried about the Rucks this year because if we do swap and change, no one's really going to be missing out on a lot of points early. So I know Ford's Discord is all going Darcy heavily, but I don't mind being against a Discord just to see what happens. So
Yeah.
Dunkley F1. I'm still shocked he's only 70% of size. Like that should be 100. What are these other 30 thinking? They've probably got your mate from Hawthorn. What's that player as F1 who went really well last year in that forward line?
Dylan Moore.
Dylan Moore. They've probably got him at F1, the other 30% of the competition. That's what they're probably running. So, um, yeah, not too much about Dunkley. We know what we're getting from him. And if he was a midfielder, I actually think he's finishing top 6 this year. What do you think, Steve?
Top 6.
If he was a midfielder, yeah, I reckon this year he's actually
Yeah. I was about to say, yeah, big call from you there if he was going to be a top 6 forward. Yeah, no words from me. Just pick him.
Just big him. Yep. This is the Rosie or Cornelio show between everyone's F2 at this stage. For mine, has to be Rosie. I wasn't really hot on him. Kingsley scared me by saying about Cogs playing a little bit more forward. Giants have the better fixture early, but I just think Rosie's at a better age where he can have this Petrarca outburst that he did have a couple of years ago. I just want to be hot on him early. And if he does go a bit crap early, pay the 30K up before the buy and downgrade somewhere else and grab Cogs then. So what are your thoughts for Rosie?
Yeah, perfectly fine. I definitely recommend him as a pick. By the way, Brad, I think it will eventually say like a 10-minute warning or something on the Zoom. We record on Zoom, and I think it normally pops up with a 10-minute warning at some point.
Sweet, cool. Because you and I can talk underwater, so
Yeah, yeah, clearly.
yeah. Taranto F3 for me. As a Tigers man, he'll probably get the most CBAs. I think he did in the pracky matches anyway. So I think he averages about 110 from here. His durability has had a good preseason so far from what I've seen. I don't think he really gets tagged either in Tigers. I think Dusty will get the tags or Shy Bolton. So nothing to worry about for Hopper or Taranto there, mate. What do you think of Taranto at F3?
Yeah, Taranto's certainly fine as a selection. I do agree he won't get tagged. I think it'll mainly be Bolton as the main bloke. He's just such a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Gordon, for me, 38% of coaches. I just picking him. I am going to be honest. I'm picking him off that preseason game. He had all those touches, 3 goals. Someone's going to have a breakout year, and I feel like it's almost too dumb not to go there. Like seeing what he did. I think the only concern for me is he is only 175, which is about 5'10", still taller than me, surprisingly. But I just think it's his breakout year. He's 20 years old. I think even the year before last, his debut year, he had like these hot 130s, and I actually had him on field, and he went nuts then 2 seasons ago. So I'm excited what he can do this year. Parker has told the media that he'll be spending more time in the midfield, and when you lose a premiership, you've got to do something slightly different. So I think Gordon's one of the ones that could be the game breakers, that they put him more in the midfield and play Parker more forward. And segue to that, I actually think Parker and Boak will be forward eligible after round 6. So I think Gordon is my F4 there. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, Errol Gould's a perfectly good pick. Unfortunately, I can't go with him just due to structural reasons. But I'll tell you what, he's going up against Hawthorn round 2. He's going to absolutely do very well against them. Yeah, Gould's a fine pick. As a non-owner, I'm just going to hope that he just sprinkles in a couple of 80s and here and there. So that's just really my only hope. But it's a very good pick.
Yeah. The last 2 spots I have, I'm actually surprised now looking at percentages that Bruin's only in 12% of size. I think people are worried about job security. Selwood's coming out of that side. So I think just logically, 1 for 1, if you're taking one player and bringing one in, I think it's Tanner Bruin. At least he played the pracky matches. Bose didn't play that second one. So I'm more hot on, they need some other midfielders in there, and I think he's one of them. So unless something changes, I can always go up to a 5. It's telling me 10 minutes to go, which is fine. I've only got 3 players to speak about. So, yeah, he's at a good price where you can go up to 5 or down to 5. I don't know what 5's price is, about the same. But I think he'll average you an 80. I'm not hoping 100s, but I reckon you'll get to 460K thereabouts. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, Bruin's a good pick. I think out of me personally, out of Bruin, Fife, Flanders. They're all good picks, but I'd say Bruin's probably the one I'm the least hot on.
Yep.
But Five's certainly the most riskiest one. So I think Bruin's a good pick. I was looking at their best 22 the other day, and I just thought, gee, they're really missing a midfielder or two, aren't they? So I just thought Bruin fits right in. Did very well in the preseason games.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Flanders is one people really 50-50 on. Well, obviously less than that because the competition only have 18%. But for me, I think he just scores pretty well at a half-forward flank. You look at the who's that Bulldogs player? McLean doesn't as much, but at least Flanders, he's still racked up 30 times. They've been hyping him up all preseason on the Suns website. Suns only have 10 followers, so I don't know how that got out. It must have been by Twitter, but yeah, I think the Suns will actually go all right this year, probably sitting where they normally do between 15th and 12th. But I think Flanders is F6 this season, mate. So, and they'll probably beat us again on the siren. Noah Anderson, I hate him. So, what do you think of Flanders?
Yeah, Flanders is a good pick. I think Flanders is a fine pick. I think he's going to push up from that half forward role into the stoppages, which I think is going to be fine. I think he needs to average 75 to make. I could be wrong, but I think he needs to average 75 to make 150 or roughly around that. And I think that's very doable. That's very, very doable considering his VFL form.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually surprised Fiorini didn't go elsewhere because he should actually get games as well. I think he'll be the next Will Brodie story. Anyway, he's not relevant, but
absolutely.
I always segue just to random crap all the time. So Fergus Green F7, I think he'll be a lot of people's F7s. What do you think about that, mate?
Yep, we'll play round one. Should play for the majority of the year. Very easy pick.
And if you're looking down for those players, percentage-wise, there's nothing really to grab. So obviously I'm going where everyone else is going. I really like the Sam Sturt pick just as a pod sort of player, but I'm not sure he gets selected. He has been in the system for a few years. McAndrew, I don't care if he gets named. I'm not going to touch him. Look at his VFL numbers. They're disgusting. So it's going to have to be Alan Davey, just purely based on job security. There's nothing really good F8s. I've been trying to look for a decent one. But that's also why I've got Ned along there, because they're just placeholders until I see some team names Thursday. And I think there'll be a few changes rookie-wise. But out of this side going forward, Ridley is my only concern and a few job security issues with rookies in the midfield, to be honest. So I'm talking about Baker as well. So I'm not sure he gets a game. But what do you think of overall of my team, mate? What do you think of it?
I think it's a very good side, mate. I think you're in for a very good year. And I think it's a perfectly good side. How many players under 200K have you got? I think you've only got 4, which is the same as me once you sort out your internet.
Yeah, I think my team has officially shut itself. So not
we saw your team. They can always come back and pause it. How about this to end the video? We do our round 1 tips.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do our round 1 tips. You got the tips up right now?
We've got another 6 minutes, so that's all right. And then they'll do it. So I know it's your video. I feel like I'm taking over.
No,
but I just thought it'd be a nice little icebreaker while Brad's internet shits itself. So, all right. So Richmond, Carlton. I'm actually going Carlton by a goal. What about you?
Oh, mate, I'm a Tigers man, obviously, so I have to go Tigers. I think we actually pump them by at least 7 goals tomorrow night.
Fair enough, mate. What about Geelong, Collingwood?
I'm going to go Cats, but I think it'll only be a pretty close game. What do you think?
Yeah, I've got Geelong as well. North Melbourne, West Coast.
Oh, I think West Coast.
Same, just due to Mackay out. And, I think West Coast could do well early. Port Adelaide, Brisbane.
Brisbane for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I've got Brisbane locked in. Melbourne, Dogs.
Oh, I'm going to go Melbourne.
Yeah, same. But I reckon. Oh, there we go. There's his side. Yeah, I'm gonna go Melbourne. But it could be a lot closer with the Dogs with no Stephen May. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention is when we were talking about Tanner Bruin and job security, blah blah blah. I think you brought up Jack Bowes. He's actually looks like he's going to miss tomorrow due to a calf injury.
Who Bowes is?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, there you go. That's interesting, mate.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring that up. Tom Brown reported, so it might be totally wrong. Anyway, um, Gold Coast Suns versus Sydney. I think this is the easiest tip of the round.
Yeah, it has to be Gold Coast, mate.
Yeah, well, I'm going Sydney.
I'm definitely going Sydney. I'm just stirring up.
Yeah, yeah, of course. GWS Adelaide
Uh, where's it been played at?
at Giants Stadium,
Oh, it has
and
to be Giants then.
yeah, I'm going GWS, but that could be a pretty close game. My boys Hawthorn versus Essendon.
I'm going to go Essendon, unfortunately, Steve.
No, I don't disagree. I'm going Essendon as well. So at least if Hawthorn lose, I get my tip right.
Yeah,
And then lastly, but I'd much prefer the latter end, especially against that mob. But the last game of the round, St Kilda versus Freo.
that's such a last round game. Oh, she almost shut down my computer. Uh, that have been awful. We've just been going for almost 40 minutes and she shuts it down. Freo
I'd
for me,
be
mate.
fuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freo just due to all the injuries for St Kilda. Yeah, probably. I reckon wrap it up.
I'll just give you a quick VC and C actually before we do go. So this is for not owning Doherty. Doherty's my VC tomorrow night. He goes 140. Richmond still win, and Dunkley is my captain this week.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. Anything under 120, I'll take for Doc. Look, for me, I'm vice captaining Dunkley into Bontempelli, so I'm going to have to be pretty quick on that vice captain loophole if Dunkley scores nicely.
Yeah, nice. All right. Well, that's the team review and the final team review. So thanks for jumping on the channel again, Steve. I do appreciate it. So I'm sure we've got a lot more videos coming up, and we've got one for your team review shortly as well. So we'll get stuck into that. So thanks again, Steve. I do appreciate you coming on as always.
No worries, mate. Always good to be on the channel. Best of luck for Brad's subscribers on the upcoming season.
Thank you very much, Steve. You have a good one. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, cheers. You know how to end the meeting?
Yeah, doing it now, mate. Cheers.